Hi, I'm Lauren Masi, Doctor of Physical Therapy and Board Certified Orthopedic Clinical Specialist. I'm also the owner and Clinical Services Director of Bay Area Physical Therapy and Lafayette Physical Therapy. Today we're going to talk about ergonomics and desk setup. Oftentimes people make do with what they have, and sometimes that's the best that we can do. But what is ergonomics? Ergonomics is how we fit into our environment. So that can be at a desk, whether that's a workstation, or even if you're just at home paying bills on a computer, that still counts as a desk setup. Also, we talk about your ergonomics or your position in a car, which we will talk about in a different vlog. Also, if you are a chef, it could be the height of your kitchen counter that you're chopping at. So ergonomics is just wherever you are, how you fit into your environment. When it comes to desk setup today, I want you to kind of listen to the whole vlog and then see how every piece fits into the next, because based on the equipment that you have at home, you might not be able to change one component without changing another, or you're going to have to go out and buy a whole new desk setup, which we want to avoid if at all possible. So please make note of the areas that you might have aches and pains and cater your corrections to that area to begin with, and then we can work towards fixing everything. So here I have a little mismatch of some laptop settings. I'm going to talk about some desktop environments as well. The number one thing that I think is a mistake for most people is you really want a good chair. And by good chair, I don't mean it has to be an expensive one. I don't even have specific brands that I love, because you can have a very expensive, ergonomically correct chair and then you sit in it wrong. So then it's not going to matter what kind of chair you have at all. Here, this is actually the chair that I sit in at my desk. And the number one thing I love about it is that it has a high back. So having a high-backed chair that at least comes up to your shoulder blades allows you to sit into the chair and let the chair hold you up. I am not working very hard at all to sit here right now in nice, tall, erect posture. Also, people often talk about lumbar support. You don't have to have a big cushion that's really pushing into your back. You just want to make sure that you feel supported the whole length of your back. You need to make sure that your tush is all the way wiggled back into the back of that chair so that there's no slouching. The minute your butt slides forward, it puts a curve through all of you and will kind of push your head a bit forward. So make sure that you're all the way back in your chair. Then as we're sitting here, good positioning for the hips and thighs. You want to make sure that the seat pan of your chair doesn't push into the back of your knees. So usually about 3 to 4 fingers of clearance from the end of your seat pan to the back of your knees. So sometimes some of our more height deprived people might notice that seat pans can be too deep for them, and then they end up scooting forward in the chair, which totally avoids the support that I was talking to you about. So we need to make sure that you are able to sit all the way back and that you aren't getting that pressure into the back of your knees. You should have 90 degrees at your knees and 90 degrees-ish at your hips. You definitely don't want your hips to be lower than your knees. That can cause some hip pain and low back irritation as well. Also, if you tend to be a little bit shorter in the leg, you might need a footrest to bring the ground up to you so you can maintain that positioning. Again, I don't want you to scoot forward in the chair just to be able to reach the floor. They make a variety of different footrests, or you can even grab some old yellow pages that you don't use anymore or reams of paper and put them under there so that your feet can be supported as well. Then when it comes to the height of your desk surface, a general rule of thumb is I don't even care if you have armrests. I definitely don't want you leaning on them. But if you were to let your arms hang at your sides and you bend your elbows to 90 degrees, I'm going to scoot myself in a little bit, that is where your keyboard should be. So if you are at a desk surface that might be higher, that's when you might invest in a keyboard tray that you can pull out underneath the desk to make sure that your elbows are at about that 90-degree range of motion. And then your mouse, you should just be able to rotate your arm out to the side. So my mouse in this particular setup can be right here. I can just rotate my arms and I'm not working very hard. My back is supported. I can look straight ahead. One problem with this setup is the height of my monitor in this case. So I'm using a laptop. I would want some kind of laptop riser to be able to bring the monitor, ideally maybe even a little taller than this for me, to about eye level. And again, if you're on a desktop, it's where the screen meets the frame of the computer that you would want at eye level. Again, common errors that we might see is that if my vision doesn't allow me to see my screen, I might start to do this, right? To be able to lean in and see my screen. So what does that do? Terrible posture, upper back pain, neck pain from slouching. So depending on your setup, you might be able just to adjust it by bringing the monitor in closer to you, Or please visit your eye doctor, because they can make you even specific computer use glasses. It's kind of an intermediate distance between readers and distance vision, but that is something that does exist to be able to help you see your monitor clearly. Let me think. I think that might be all for the major talking points for your desk setup. Make sure that, like I said, your arms can relax here. If you do use armrests, they should still not press you up. They can support lightly at your elbow. Some armrests can even rotate out so that you're only resting the edge of your elbow, and you shouldn't be leaning on an armrest. So that can cause some numbness and tingling and compression in nerves in the elbows, and obviously curves to your spine that can lead in asymmetries and problems. And the final mistake that I see a lot of people use is that their mouse, they might be reaching for it way out here or up on a desk, and the number one pain that they will report is shoulder problems. So again, when you're up in that position, you're actually using your rotator cuff all the time to keep your arm up there and move things around. When you're back here, again, everything can be a nice neutral alignment. The one thing that I can't control for you is how long you have to sit at a desk. So if you are sitting at a desk for 8 hours at a time, I encourage you to take breaks. Usually we say, at least for your eyes and your posture, look up around the room 20 feet away. Make sure that you can break your gaze every once in a while. And if you need to set timers to get up and kind of walk around periodically throughout the day, that's another good option. And lastly, any overuse from typing and use of a mouse. They have different types of mice, different positions, or even flipping and making yourself a little bit more ambidextrous to help reduce any overuse injuries. If you have any other information or any other questions, please visit our vlog on carpal tunnel and laser therapy that can help you treat any of your overuse symptoms due to poor ergonomics. If you have any other questions, please reach out to Bay Area Physical Therapy today for a complimentary consultation. Thanks so much.